everybody.
Welcome to Kirsty and Bryony's Comfort Zone.
I am Kirsty.
And you sound like a robot.
I am
Bryony. Running podcast.exe. Beep boop. Beep boop.
Podcast.exe has crashed.
I have had electric dreams of sheep. I forgot the quote. Do androids dream of electric sheep? Is the title of this, I was going to say video essay, podcast essay,
video
audio
essay.
Yes. As you can see from all these wonderful graphs we've made, we prove our point very well. We're very smart and science.
I am
Thank you.
so science right now.
So, I like this science is popping off.
Never scienced so hard in my life.
No, I bet you can science a little bit more. Go on, squeeze a bit more science out.
Oh God. The electrons. Whoa.
Only gone and done it. Slow clap. I'm standing up.
I was about to say chlamydia is the powerhouse of the cell.
She's cracked it.
Oh,
what? Science. I feel like I've been doing science recently because I now have to clean things with bleach. That's science, right?
That's pretty sciencey. Yeah.
It's because I have to use syringes to measure it out. And that feels quite science when
is this
I'm doing
for
it.
bunny medicine?
No,
No?
this is for... Okay, so they tested for this thing. For people who don't know, there's this thing that bunnies can get called E. caniculi, and it's horrible. And the only things that have been found to kill the bacteria, which it comes out in their wee, one of them is bleach. Another is formaldehyde, which weirdly I don't just have lying around the house very often. And there's another one, but I can't think what it is. So yeah, oh my gosh. Every day using this bleach. I'm so paranoid about it because I read this thing stupidly after I poured bleach everywhere. I read this thing that was like, how dangerous is bleach?
Oh.
And it was like, when mixed with ammonia, it can result in chloroform. And I was like, ammonia, isn't that what we is?
That's what we is.
I was like, have I just chloroformed myself? Alex is going to come down and I'm just going to be lying on the kitchen floor with a litter tray just like, oh.
Oh my God.
But he was like, you do realise that people use bleach to clean things every day.
Literally, I use bleach
been fine
all the time. Bleach is great. It's just so good at cleaning. It's just so good.
So yeah, I now have to go through this thing every night where I like empty out the litter tray and then I bleach it for 10 minutes and then I wash that away and then I cover that with vinegar and then I clean that away and then, oh my gosh, it's just... Meanwhile, the bunnies just freely pee and poo where the litter tray has just been. So then I have to go and clean that up and it just becomes this ongoing cycle.
Why don't you have two litter trays that you can cycle through?
I was thinking this because I bought, like a couple of years ago, I splashed out and I bought this really expensive litter tray because it's like, it's got a low side because Jerry baby is getting a little bit older now. So it's got one low side so that he can get in. It's twice the size of a normal litter tray because they like to poo together because that's romantic. Mm-hmm. And I was like, classic last line. I was like, I'm going to splash out in this litter tray because it's the last litter tray I will ever need to buy so I can spend a bit more on it. And now I'm like, actually, I need a second one, please. So I think I will get another one. But I'm just a bit like, ugh. But maybe I could get another colour because it does come in quite a cute pastel purple. Not that they mind when they're peeing all over it, but it'll look nice for me.
That would be nice. It's like Tab's litter tray. I bought him a nice pastel pink one.
Aww.
He doesn't really care. He just gets poo all over it. But it looks nice.
Can cats see... How do cats see colour? Not that we can ever really know, but...
No, actually. Let me Google it.
I saw this thing the other day that was like a dog vision filter, and it supposedly makes you see how dogs see. And it was saying like, don't get green toys for your dogs because they just blend in.
Oh.
Like dogs can't really tell this like green. Or was it red? I think it was red. It was either green or red, but they were like, don't play fetch.
Well, it wouldn't be green because dogs use tennis balls all the time, right?
Oh, that's true. It must have been red because I guess the red blends with the green in their vision, which I guess is like the standard colorblind, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like red and green. So yeah, it was like, don't play fetch with red because it's impossible to see. Like they basically used this filter and then they threw a red thing and they were like, can you see where it went? No, neither can your dog. Don't play with red.
I feel like dogs wouldn't care and they would overcome it, you know? They'd be like, oh, that's hard to see, but I don't care. I can smell it. I can hear it.
I think it depends on the dog because the other day I was looking after Mochi and I guess because I'm used to, like I've played with a lot of dogs in my time. And I'm used to, you know, like I can throw a toy and you'll be like, where's the toy? Like a lot of my friends have spaniels. So I'm used to like cockapoos, which I guess have the spaniel. And Pooh is very clever as well. So that's a good mix.
True.
But with Mochi, I was like, I'm going to throw this toy for her to catch. And it just full on hit her in the face and she didn't react. I was like, well, now I just feel bad. All I've done is just throw something at you.
Aww.
But she's still really happy. Like, it was so sweet. Every time we went out on a walk, without fail, she would annoy another dog. She wouldn't mean to. She's just very like, are we friends? We're friends. Like, she gets in their face and she doesn't.
Lovely. Just
because she's so like, has so much love to give. And obviously a lot of dogs would then be like baring teeth and snapping and they would react in like a bad way. But without fail, every time Mochi would leave and she'd be like really happy, like little jaunty walk, tail wagging, like, I made a friend today. I'm just like, oh dear sweet girl. She's just like, I love her so much.
What a baby.
I just love the fact that she's like, today is a good day. I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, la 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 la.
So apparently cats can see colour, but it's quite a muted spectrum of colours.
Oh.
So it's kind of similar to dogs in a way.
Huh.
Yeah. What does a cat's vision look like?
I wonder how they tell these things. Because with bunnies, I don't know, like colours-wise, but they can't focus on things very close up because obviously being prey animals, it helps to see things further away.
Yeah.
So occasionally if I'm sat in the other room and one of the bunnies is just staring at me, I'm wondering if they're going like, that's what you look like? Just like, what the heck? Like,
Who the heck is that?
Big, blurry friend is suddenly like, oh. Come closer so I can't see you.
It's like rats. When I had rats, like they have terrible vision. Like they sort of just rely on their smelling and their hearing and their little whiskers. And when a lot of rats, especially pink-eyed rats or red-eyed rats, they sit there and when they're sort of staring out into space, you can see them swaying their head because it makes them get a better view of their surroundings. So they just sit there and they sway. And it's really cute.
Don't rats do the like up and down head thing because it helps them judge distances? Don't they have like a almost like a bifocal vision where they're like they can tell depth of field, but they have to be like looking at it from different angles and they're like, oh, it's over there.
Probably.
It's sort of like me when I play games, to be fair. So many times in like Breath of the Wild, I'd jump off something and I'm like, oh, that is a lot further than I thought it was.
You should just be like a rat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just look up and down.
Oh, I love rats.
I love rats.
I had a message from the rescue that we adopted Squeak and fostered Julietta through the other day. And they were like, are you still up for fostering hamsters? And I was like, yeah. And then ever since then, I've been like, are they just updating their list or do they have a baby for me? And I'm just sat there like, should I message and be like, so baby?
Baby? Any
babies? I get the feeling that they were probably just like, oh, we're just seeing who's, because it's been a while.
Checking. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should ask if they have any rats.
I would love to look after rats. I love rats so much.
And then I would come and live with you.
This is like how like things build up, like that episode of The Simpsons where it's like, we got rats, so we got snakes, and then to get rid of the snakes we had to get cats, and then it's like a gorilla. But it's the opposite of that. It's like, I tried to lure in a rat with cheese, and then I used the rat to lure in the Kirsty. And then with that I get the Rithian.
Yes, perfect. See?
My collection grows.
Only good things can come from rats.
Just put like a little rat under a cardboard box propped up with a stick, and I'm like, any Kirsties around?
That would catch me. That would absolutely catch me. I would be in there. Baby.
When I was little, I used to play trombone, and I was in a wind band, and the conductor of the wind band, he had rats, and he used to just turn up and he would have them on his shoulder. He would just like conduct this music.
Oh my God.
With a little rat just sat on his shoulder, and then he'd go home. We used to call him Ratman, to the point where I can't remember what his actual name was.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Oh, they're such good babies. Oh.
I was thinking back to that the other day, and I was like, did they just sit on his shoulder when he like drove in and stuff? Like, how did he actually transport them?
Probably. Like, yeah, I had a few rats who liked to sit in the hood of my hoodie.
Aww.
And they find their little spaces that they like to be in. Like, I had one who would go in, you know, like when you have a bedside cabinet and it's got 3 drawers, and under the bottom drawer there's like a gap.
Yeah.
I had one who would live in that little gap. So I just put loads of blankets there, and she would go and sleep there every day. I had one who used to go under my pillow on my bed and just go to bed there. I remember one time she was snoozing and she was completely out of it. Like, she was so deep in sleep. And I went over there to wake her up, and I laid down on the bed, and she climbed on my back and did the biggest piss I've ever seen a rat do in my life. And I was just like, okay, that's what I get for waking you up, I guess. Oh my God.
How are rats with, like, a lot of the time when you have like mice or hamsters, they will, well, actually, no, to be fair, I never had it with hamsters, but my friend's hamster used to do it. But when they will just walk along and just leave like a little poop trail, like they just sort of do it as they go. Do rats do that?
Rats,
or are they quite...
They don't do it with poop so much. My rats generally were litter trained.
Yeah.
For poop, anyway. But they do it with wee because they scent mark.
Ah.
So they'll be walking along and they might do like a little tiny trickle of wee. But you get used to it.
Yeah.
You get used to it. But yeah, no, they were pretty much litter trained. So I litter trained one of like my earlier groups of rats. And then every time I would get a new rat, they would just learn from the others. So all of my rats ended up being litter trained for the most part.
Aww.
I mean, it wasn't perfect. Like, you'd get like a hammock that they really enjoyed pooping in. But yeah, they generally stuck to the same place, and they had like a little triangle litter tray in the corner of their cage, and they would always go in there. And they were very good.
Aww.
Very sweet babies. Very clever.
Like Giulietta was litter trained. She has this little like a ceramic triangle dish that I put in one of her hides, and she would just always pee and poop in there. Aww. It was really easy to clean out. She was like that when she came to me. She was already very smart.
They're so smart. I love them. Oh,
whereas my little mouse, he would just run around and poop all the time. It'd just be sat in your hand, and then he'd leave, and then you'd be like, oh dear, it is a gift. Thank you.
The worst thing is when like one of them is sleeping in your hood, and then they get up and they leave, and you look and there's just a little poo in there. It's like, thank you.
My little Genevieve, our first bunny, she was like, oh, she was such a little old lady. But she would, because she had like a respiratory thing, but she would sneeze. And then because she had her little old lady bladder, she'd just leave like a tiny wee when she sneezed, which is just like me now, to be fair.
Oh, baby.
Which is why, like, when we moved to this house, we were like, oh, should we get carpets put in? And then we were like, no, we should stick with rugs.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
Not with bunnies.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, my rats, when I lived at my parents' house, I had to get a new carpet in my bedroom because of the rats. And we went to the carpet shop, and my parents were like, we're getting the cheapest, shittest carpet.
Oh.
Because they're just going to piss on it and eat it. And I was like, okay.
And the rats will as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh dear. So
little babies.
the amount of things my rats just absolutely destroyed was hilarious, honestly.
Yeah, they are like quite a force of
They are. Their little teeth. They do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
One time I had one of them in a cage, like a small cage, to do introductions. And it was by my wardrobe, and I had my work jacket hung up on my wardrobe. And they managed to pull the arm in and eat it up to the elbow.
Oh my gosh.
And another time I was cleaning out their main cage, and they'd made a nest at the very top. And I looked in it, and they had a photo of my mum they'd stolen from my pinboard. And I think maybe a watch as well. I was just like, what? They also ate 2 headsets and a Razer mouse and a lot of phone chargers, a lot of bed sheets, carpet, curtains.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's like with the bunnies, like when people say to me like, oh, how do you protect your possessions against the bunnies when you have them free roaming and stuff? And I'm just like, you just let go of earthly possessions.
Exactly.
Really. You just learn to accept it.
This is why we can't have nice things. Because we have rats and bunnies.
Because we have the best things.
We have the best things. We forego the nice things for the nicer things.
Yeah. And the bunnies were just like, the other day, Fionn just marched over to a bit of the wall and started chewing on it. And I was like, oh okay. Oh, all right. That's just you, I guess.
You do you.
Fine.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, that just reminded me. I used to have like textured wallpaper in my bedroom at my parents' house, like the really old fashioned, just textured. It had like the little, I don't know what they're called, but it's like a little crest that's like 3 feathers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it was like that on the wallpaper, like repeated. And the rats loved eating those. Like, they could only really reach the ones that were on my bed. So all of the wall next to my bed just had these big holes in the wallpaper.
Aww.
Because they would just jump up there and be like, right, time to chow down.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
Little
my God.
cuties.
I miss my babies. I love them.
Get more babies.
More babies. The problem is I've got no one to look after them here.
You just have to move to Bristol and become a rat queen.
That's the dream. The dream.
Yeah.
Get Rythian in too. Rythian can babysit them.
Yeah. Get a place together in Bristol and then add a rat every week until he notices.
The thing is, I would do that.
You could start off by, I think Ped has had a rat for like months now.
True.
Start with that.
Adopt that one.
Got a collection in the making.
Whenever people are like, I have a rat in my house, I'm like, ugh, lucky. Send them my way.
A little free friend.
Little friend, little baby. You didn't have to pay for it. Oh my God.
It's like when we used to get slugs in our kitchen. They never came back, but just for one winter, every day you'd come down and there'd be a slug in the kitchen. We had no idea how they were getting in or how they got out again, but they would just be there. And we're like, okay. And then this lady at work, really stressed, came over to me one day and she was like, I've got slugs and I've done everything I can to get rid of them. How did you? I've heard you had them as well. Like, how did you get rid of them? What did you do? And I was just like, sometimes I feed them little bits of lettuce if I'm making a sandwich. I showed them lots of kindness and then they never came back. So I tried to befriend them, I guess.
Just reverse psychology.
Yeah. I just became overbearing for the slugs, I guess.
Oh, this is far too much.
But I used to
get
just
rid
make
of
little
them.
videos of them eating because it's so cute, their little munchy faces. And then they stopped. I don't know why. Found somewhere else. Probably all in her kitchen now.
Probably, yeah. Oh my god. Speaking of small animals,
yes.
before we get onto your dreams and before my one falls out of my brain because I didn't record it,
yeah.
I had a dream last night about aminals.
Oh.
Yeah. It was only a very, very small one, but there was a lady and she was trying to like wrangle her dog, but the dog was very tiny and pink. Like literally
like nosy stuck.
Like nosy stuck, yeah. She was like hamster sized, this dog. And she didn't want to pick her up. She was like just trying to lead her into a room. And I was like, just pick her up. Like, she's fine. She's friendly. She was very like, she was just running around having a lovely time.
Yeah.
So I was like, just pick her up like this. And I taught her how to pick her up like a rat, like with two hands. And we brought her into the room. And then in this other room, there were tons of bunnies, chinchillas, and guinea pigs. Like they were running around in this big pen, and this lady was trying to sort them into like enclosures. So I was picking them up and handing her them one by one. I started with the guinea pigs, and I handed them over, and they were making the little guinea pig noises. And I was like, "Oh, I love the noises they make." And this lady, she was very sort of not stuck up, but she was quite posh, and she was very like matter of fact about what she was doing. And when I started handing her the chinchillas, I got chinchillas and guinea pigs mixed up in my brain and was like, are you going to put the chinchillas in with the bunnies? And she was like, no, of course I'm not. And I was like, oh no, sorry, I didn't mean that. I meant guinea pigs, but also you shouldn't keep guinea pigs with bunnies. That's bad. And she's like, yes, that is right. I was like, oh, yeah, And yeah, so I just kept handing her all of these baby animals. And then once all the animals were out of the way, there were like tools and stuff, like little toolkits, like drills and things. And the walls around the room that she was putting these animals had like all little hooks on to store like drills and drill bits and little cases with stuff in. Almost like my dad's shed.
Yeah.
And so then like three of us were just looking for where each tool had to go. And that was kind of it. That's all I remember. But that happened. But the guinea pigs were very cute.
There's actually an entry in the book for baby animals.
Oh!
It says, the dreamer will be dealing with the childlike side of his or her personality, or possibly children known to them. So, is there anything... Have you regressed at all recently?
Oh, constantly.
Yay!
I am a child.
I never gressed in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wonder if there's anything under pink.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, they were a tiny little pink dog, and they did have a name, but I can't remember it. I cannot remember it for the life of me.
Oh. Magenta? I guess that's sort of...
Oh.
I think that's the closest to pink in here. This is in some ways a colour which links both physical and spiritual. It signifies relinquishment, selflessness, perfection, and meditative practice.
Oh.
Okay. So I guess you were being quite selfless in helping this lady with her little pink dog.
I guess so.
And you were being perfectionist in sorting the baby animals.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You've reminded me. Did I tell you about my terrifying dream that I had about the field, cutting through a field?
No, I don't
I
think
didn't
so.
record it because it shook me up at the time. But basically, I can't remember the first part of the dream. I had been somewhere, and I think the reason I didn't record it is because something sad had happened at the beginning, but I can't remember what it was. Because then I was walking home from whatever that was, and I was like, oh, I'll just cut through this field. It was like a field, and it had one tree in it, and I was like, I was like so preoccupied with what had happened in the dream before that I didn't pay attention. I was like, I'll just walk through this field. All of a sudden, I look up, there's a velociraptor
Oh my
staring
God.
at me in the field. And I'm like, oh. And it was only like 10 feet away. And I was like, oh dear, I just have to like try and jump out through the fence because a small wooden fence is going to stop a velociraptor. But I was like, I'll just try and jump out of the field again. And I look across, and all over the fence along the top is these like stitched together like Frankenstein fleshy horse heads that have these
What?
massive teeth, and they're all like moving and creepy. And then along the front panel of the fence was just mouths, like fleshy mouths that had been stitched in. And I was like, there's no way in the fence that I can get through. So then I was like, okay, I can see like one bit of fence that's clear, so I'm just going to run towards that. The velociraptor runs at me, and the first thing I do is I grab its face, I hold its mouth open in front of one of the terrifying horse beasts, and the horse beast sticks its entire face down into its mouth and starts eating its throat.
What?
I know. And then I just ran, and I tried to like jump through the fence, and I couldn't quite get through, and I tried to run back to like the sty to try and like get over there. And it was just like, oh my gosh, it was... Wait, is it sty or style?
Style.
Style?
Yeah, style.
Oh yeah, sty's what you get in your eye. So I was just like running, and I went to try and get over there, and then like the shock of running and trying to get over like woke me up, and I was just like, what the heck? Why is that in my head?
That is
terrifying.
insane. That's really terrifying. It reminds me of the time that I got chased by bulls or cows. It wouldn't have been a field of bulls, I
jeez.
guess. It would have been a field of cows. Got chased by cows on my Duke of Edinburgh award, and we had to run to a nearby fence and hop it. There weren't any
Jeez.
terrifying horse heads, though.
No, I just like what could even that
What
be
could even?
mean? Why?
I don't know. That is just, I cannot help you with that one. That is a dream. The very dreamy. Wow.
Oh, there's actually like quite a long entry for dinosaur.
Oh, okay.
When we dream of monsters or prehistoric animals, we are touching into very basic images which have the power to frighten and amaze. Because they are considered to be so large, we need to be aware of whether it is their size or their power which is frightening. I mean, the velociraptor was like my height. So it wasn't that it was like huge. It was just the power of it, I guess. It says, urges as basic as this can threaten our existence by either their size or their power. We are touching into an archaic or outmoded part of ourselves, remembering that the dinosaur is extinct and that for most people they are perceived as fossils, such as a dream can recognize the part of ourselves which has become set in stone. I don't think any of what happened is pretty set in stone in my life. I feel like it was pretty out there.
It was... yeah.
It also says, we all have within us a chaotic past, which has been a huge part of our lives. Spiritual progress dictates that we understand this part can be changed, and our present selves can grow from that ability to change. Old standards have to break down. So which part of my life is the Frankenstein horse heads and the dinosaur? Because I'd like to change that part if it's okay.
Good question.
It's just like, I can't even think, like, I don't really watch like horror films or anything. So there's nothing that I could have seen in a movie that would be like that. So it was just so out of nowhere. And it made me feel very weird that day. I was like, why?
Oh, yeah. I mean, geez, that I can see why. That's a lot. I mean,
Oh, I wonder if Field is in the book.
maybe.
Field dinosaur.
That's just, that's a very, like, I think that's probably like the closest thing to a nightmare you've had that you've brought to the podcast. You probably had some spooky ones that you didn't bring, but
I like the fact that that was the bit of the dream that it wasn't that, like, I don't remember what happened in the first part that I was like, no, I can't record that. But the second part, that's fine. So goodness knows what happened first. Oh, it says, when we dream that we are in a field, we are actually looking at our field of activity, what we are doing in everyday life. It may also be a play on words in that it is to do with the feeling state and is to do with the freedom from social pressure. Is the velociraptor social pressure?
well, you made a horse eat its throat.
So I'm winning.
Yeah. It sounds like you're winning.
I can't think what to look up for, like, Frankenstein stitched together zombie horse. I guess I could just look up horse. And see if that, because I reckon horses. Oh, sea animals. Aminals. They're not sea animals. What are you on about? That's a seahorse.
Oh my God.
Silly book. Oh, in animals, it says prehistoric animals, a trauma from the past or from childhood may be causing difficulty. Huh.
See, we have looked at dinosaurs before on the podcast, right? And we've said, like, a lot of people when they're kids, they dream about, like, dinosaurs chasing them. A lot of the guests we've had have said that, right?
Yeah. Because I guess they are, like, you learn about them as a kid and they seem big and scary. And
Yeah.
they're, like, I guess you don't have, like, a standard bad guy sort of thing. So it's just dinosaurs. Always has been. Oh my gosh, there's so many sections for horse. A white horse, a brown horse, a black horse, a pale horse, a winged horse. Under strain or dying. It's probably the closest one. In a man's dream, a mare. In a woman's dream, being kicked by a horse. Wait, why do we get kicked?
What?
The heck?
What the freak?
A horse that can get through any door and batter down all obstacles. How specific? Ah. Well, there you go.
That's
many horses.
Interesting. There's a lot of different horses. What about a horse that turns into a motorbike? That turns into Chris Trot?
It says you're very wise and noble.
and handsome.
The horse in a dream represents the energy at the dreamer's disposal. I can't think of anything that I've recently been thinking about from my childhood, I don't think.
I guess you've been thinking about going home for Christmas.
Yeah.
But I don't know why that would translate to mutilated horses and velociraptors.
Yeah. Very bizarre. It was just spoopy. I mean...
Yeah, it sounds it.
I wonder if it's like... So the only thing I can think of recently is that I've been having a lot of trouble relaxing because I've got that thing where anytime I spend, in quotation marks, relaxing, it's actually just time I'm spending feeling guilty that I'm not doing something else. So I wonder if, like, the field was me being like, I'm going to go into this nice, lovely field and I'm going to stroll through it. It's going to be all pretty and there's a wonderful tree. And then the velociraptor and the terrifying horse beasts were work and responsibilities that are like, no, you must face us. You should be dealing with us. Why are you trying to enjoy your time in the field? I wonder if it was just that.
I'm going to take your word for it.
and the horse heads were chat.
Oh my God.
That's why it was just mouths along the fence.
Oh,
because it's just
she's
them
cracked it.
chatting. It's just thousands of mouths going, no, you don't want to fight a dinosaur that way. Why did you do that? No, you should have done this.
Why are you using that sword? You should be using the blah, blah, blah flaming sword from the den of blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 chat. Stinky.
I feel like we can solve any dream by just saying it's chat.
It's chat's fault. Yep.
It's chat. Dinosaur, chat. Horse head, chat. Tree,
Yep.
chat.
Chat. Field. Chat.
All the chat.
Yeah.
Solved it. Bam. All the
Nailed
tiny
it.
baby animals, chat.
Chat.
Would you like to hear, hopefully, a nicer dream that I had on the 1st of October, the change of the month?
Oh, lovely.
I have no memory of what this is. I hope it's not terrifying.
Let's do it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. I had this dream that... Oh my gosh, I'm so wheezy. I had this dream that I was like an actor. I think I was like starring in this TV show. And Tom Bates was also in it. And we got to like the finale scene and I just kept on getting it wrong. Like everyone was waiting for me to say my line. Tom did his perfectly. And then I looked down, and the weird thing about this dream was I could actually read the words. Like I remember seeing the words on the page. And I kept reading them out and I was like, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So I was just reading out random things. And then I suddenly clicked that what I was reading was the stage directions, not my lines. So I was like, oh my gosh, no, I know exactly what I'm meant to be saying. Can we go again? And they were like, no, that's a wrap, back it down, everyone. And I was like, but it's literally not going to make any sense. Like I didn't say any of the things I was meant to say for the scene. And I was just really like, are they going to ask us to come back and do reshoots? Are they just going to put it out like it is? And I'm just going to look really weird. But yeah, it was just like, I don't know, there was just something very odd about being able to see the actual words. And I was meant to be saying, maybe I was actually playing Tom's mum, now I think about it. I think it was something about Tom was task boy and he'd finished Taskbox and gone home to his mum. But yeah, anyway, the end. Bye-bye. There you go.
There you go.
Tom's mum.
Ah. Now, when did Taskbox come out?
Oh.
Because I feel like this is oh my God, Taskbox is coming out and I'm panicking kind of dream.
I think it was already out by this point.
Was it? Let's have a look at the date.
Did it come out in September?
So this was the 1st of October. It came out 2 weeks ago.
Oh no! In that case,
Yeah,
you are right.
It came out. YouTube just says 2 weeks ago. It doesn't say an actual date for some reason.
Yeah.
So, there you go, 29th of September. So it was the end. It was like you had this dream a couple of days after Taskbox was released.
Ah.
So I think around that time you were like worrying about what people would think, right?
Yeah.
Like about how you did and stuff like that. So it makes sense that Tom would appear in your dream.
Yeah, especially as like specifically task boy.
Yeah.
And I guess like the whole thing of like being his mum probably is more like birthing a project rather than actually, I guess, like being mothering of something rather than actually being a mum sort of thing. But
Yeah.
I think it was like, and I guess like the whole thing about wondering if there'd be reshoots was probably once you've done things like that, like any sort of like puzzle or that sort of thing where you're thinking like, oh, well, if I was going to do it again, I'd do this or I'd do this. I guess it was probably just me thinking like, oh, I wish I had said this or I wish I had done this differently.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like with like something like Castbox as well. I think you would come away from it and be like, oh, I should have done this, especially after the live recording.
Yeah.
Like you'd be like, oh, they did that. That's such a good idea. I should have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like as soon as there is a time restraint, just any sort of like logical thinking just goes out the window.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like I find that I watch it and I'm like, yeah, I would do this, I think. I think I would do this for this task and this. But if I was like given half an hour to do it, I'd be like, ah.
Yeah, even if like, I think one of them was an hour, but which is a long time really. But even then you're like, oh my gosh, panic, what the heck? It's like the bit where, I think I told you this before, there's a bit where I write out a questionnaire for Tom to fill out with full answers. And I did tick boxes. And he's like, do you want me to write in the boxes? And after the Taskbox viewing, someone from the office came up to me and they were like, oh, that bit where you did the tick boxes was so funny. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I just wasn't thinking. And they were like, oh, I thought it was a bit like you were pretending to be dumb. And I was like, nope. No, I just did that.
That's just me.
It's just how I am. But you just, it's like that sort of, it's like there are times when I'll be playing a game on stream and I'll do something that, because you're like, your attention is so sort of diluted between so many different things, and then I'll be playing the game off stream and I'm like, oh yeah, that thing is actually really obvious, it's right there.
Yeah.
But when I'm streaming it, I'm like, does anyone know the button for this? And they're like, it literally says press X to do this. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry.
Yep. I find that when I was playing Final Fantasy VIII with Rythian, like whenever you're in a menu and you hover over an item or something, in pretty much all Final Fantasy games really, like it will have like the little tooltip at the top of the screen telling you what the item does.
Yeah.
And every time he would be in a menu in 8 or something like that, I'd be like, what is that? What does that do? And he's like, it literally says it there. And I'm like, oh, I didn't see that. He's like, it's in the middle of the screen. I'm like, I didn't see that. I can't see when I'm streaming. I'm blind.
You just get such blinkers on. It's like, I get the thing of, I get so worried about reading something out correctly that I don't listen to what I'm saying. And I'll read out a thing that will be like, oh yes, they must have run into the forest and then she dropped her shoe. We should find the shoe round the back of this house. I'll be like, okay. And then I'll be like, okay, good. I read it. And I'll be like, okay, what do I do?
What?
And they're like, you just said what you have to do. I'm like, what did I say? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I just sort of go like, yes, I nailed that reading.
Yeah, I do that.
Dear, oh dear.
Streaming's hard.
But it makes me so happy when people try streaming for the first time and they're like, oh, it's really difficult to like say stuff and pay attention to the game and do this. I'm just like, thank you. Validation.
Yes, it is. Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, I think this was a... Bridie is scared about people watching Taskbox stream.
Yeah.
For
I was trying to
sure.
think, like, in my mind, the setting of this stream was sort of like 1920s style film set. But I think that's just because I'm trying to think when Alex and I started rewatching, well, watching on his part and rewatching for me, because we're watching through all of Poirot now. And I'm like, had we started doing it then? Or was it just because I was so excited at the thought that we were going to, that it was in that setting?
Oh, I really want to watch through Poirot. I've been meaning to do it for
we
a
should
really
do
long time.
A watch along podcast called
Yeah.
Hercule Poirot.
Perfect.
It is just so Good. Alex was like, how many episodes have you seen of it? And I was like, I don't know, because you just sort of like watch it randomly when it's on TV. Like it's not like it's got this overarching story that you watch and follow his like progress. You just pick it up every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's more, I couldn't tell you anything that happens in episodes. It's just about the vibe.
Literally, yeah, like it's completely different. But remember when I had my big NCIS binge?
Yeah.
I watched like 18 seasons of NCIS. If somebody came up to me and said, what happens in an episode? I'd be like, I don't know. I have no idea.
It's just like a cozy blanket
You just watch
of a show.
it.
Just
Yeah,
like, I'm happy to be here.
Exactly. A crime happens. They go and investigate the crime. They solve the crime. And that's it. And then you watch the next one and you're like, oh my God, a crime happened. Who could have foreseen this? They better go investigate. Oh, they solved the crime.
I love that in Poirot, there's like the chief inspector. And despite the fact that Poirot literally has like an 100% win rate, the chief inspector is still like a sassy little bitch. Every time he sees him, he's like, you might have the brains, Poirot, but, we've got the sheer determination and we know this is a case closed. We know what's happened. And he's always wrong, but he comes in so ballsy. I'm just like, I admire that.
He believes in himself.
Yeah. Good for you.
Good for you. You're wrong, but good for you.
And I was explaining to Alex, I was like, basically, anytime Hastings thinks someone did it, they never did it. He was like, is he always wrong? I was like, yeah, yep. He'll always be like, oh, dash it, Poirot. I think it must be this guy. What a this darndest thing. He's like, Hastings, you twat.
Hastings, you twat. It's like in the like we watched the 70s Murder on the Orient Express movie, me and Rydian and a couple of other people on Discord the other day. And yeah, there's a scene where he keeps getting, like, he gets everybody in one at a time to interrogate them or to interview them. And every time they leave the room, the other guy that's doing the interviews with him is like, yeah, they did it. Yeah, it was them. And then the next one comes in and then they leave and he's like, yeah, they did it. They did that. It was definitely them. Yeah. That was a fun little movie. It was a fun little movie.
Did you say it was the 1974 one that you saw?
I believe so. So it wasn't David Suchet.
And it wasn't the new one with Kenneth Branagh.
No. It was...
Alex keeps on... This is how we started watching it, because Alex was like, oh, do you want to watch the film? And I'm just like, not my Poirot. And he was like, what is so good about this David Suchet Poirot? I was like, you will have to watch it.
You have to watch.
We started, like, I don't know what he thought it was going to be like, but in the first episode, he was like, it's so silly. It's just so goofy. And I'm like, yeah, this is why it's amazing. I think he thought maybe it was like a really serious thing. And I'm just like, no, everyone is a stereotype and it's great.
Oh, I want to watch it so bad. So the 70s Poirot was Albert Finney, who was English.
Okay.
And he is, I know he's supposed to be Belgian, ?
Yeah.
But in this movie, he is just aggressively French. You can tell that it's an English guy putting on a terrible French accent.
Oh my God.
And it's so like stereotypical. But it's really good. And the scene where he like, because I a lot of people know what happens in it, even if they've never seen Murder on the Orient Express. But the scene at the end where like he goes through, like he gets everyone into the same room and goes through like every single person and stuff. That was a really good scene. And it was like a really long scene, obviously, but it was just like, you're sitting there like, oh yeah, what about that one? Who are you going to talk to next? Oh. And it was really good. Really good.
Maybe I should give that one a go, because I didn't really, like, I sort of did enjoy the Kenneth Branagh one a bit, but I was held back by that just like, not the right guy. But yeah, maybe I should give that one a go.
Yeah, it's fun. It's just silly. It's good.
Yeah. Because I think there's been 2 more of the new ones. There's like Death on the Nile and then something in Venice, maybe? Can't remember what the latest one is.
Are they all Kenneth Branagh?
Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh. Kenneth Branagh's a very good actor.
He is, but he's not David Suchet.
He is not David Suchet. It's true. Okay, Kenneth Branagh Poirot movies ranked. Death on the Nile, Murder on the Orient Express, A Haunting in Venice.
Haunting in Venice.
Apparently, A Haunting in Venice is the best one, according to this random person I found on Google.
Maybe I will give it a go. And I'll go to the cinema and I'll just do a shot every time I think of David Suchet. And then by the end of the movie, I'll be having a wonderful time.
I see what you mean, though. Like, I expected Kenneth Branagh, to be made up a little bit more, but it's just Kenneth Branagh with a big mustache.
Yeah.
A big, very fake mustache.
I think it's just like, I don't know, something about David Suchet. He just was Poirot.
Yeah, he was.
To the point where I was like watching an interview with him last night in bed. I was just in bed like, I wonder what David Suchet sounds like when he's not being Poirot. And he's like terribly English. He's a very
terribly
well-spoken chap sort of thing. But he's he just seems so lovely.
The Albert Finney version, he is really I want to say like well, I dread to think what his hair gel bill is what I'm trying to say here. The amount of product on that man's hair, dear God,
geez.
In that movie. And it's like, you've got the mustache, like, that's oiled to a point. You could kill a man with that mustache. And then the hair is like, goddamn.
Oh, I see. I'm just looking at a picture of him now. He's sort of got like a Gomez.
Yeah, he's like very Gomez, and it is just slicked back. It looks like it's wet.
Oh my gosh! I want to watch this now. Where can I watch this?
I'll let you know after the podcast.
The other thing I'm curious to watch is what's the other Miss Marple? That was Agatha Christie as well, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
She was just bashing out novels, wasn't she?
She was. Not Agatha Christie, but I also want to watch Murder, She Wrote.
I was just thinking that. It's, was it Angela Lansbury?
Angela Lansbury, yeah. What a legend. We love Angela Lansbury.
See, there's a game that I think came out today or yesterday, very recently. And it's a game of Murder on the Orient Express. And I was thinking like, I sort of want to play it, but I wonder how it works if you already know the ending sort of thing. Like,
yeah.
Or is it made with that in mind? Like, everyone probably knows this, so let's just still make it good sort of thing.
Oh my God, this reminds me. Today, my copy of Brindlewood Bay has been shipped. Which is
Brindlewood Bay.
It's the TTRPG that I backed on Kickstarter so long ago, where you play as old ladies solving crime.
Oh, that one!
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Gosh.
We should play it. I think we should get like me, you, Rudy, and maybe like Niall Z, and we should do like a little stream of it or something. I think that would be so much fun.
Who would run it? Is it like? Yeah.
I guess since I've bought the book, I would run it because I would feel bad being like, Rythia. But also I want to be an old lady solving crime.
Oh my gosh. Agatha Christie. Why do I struggle to say Agatha so much? Agatha Christie. She wrote 66 detective novels and 14 short stories. Blimey.
Wow. I'm just looking at Brindlewood Bay. I'm going back to it again. But it has 6 mysteries in it, I think. And the first one in the book is called... Oh, no, not the first one. The second one is called The Great Brindlewood... Oh my God, I can't say words. The Great Brindlewood Bay Bake Off. Say that 5 times fast. The Jolly Good Baking Show has come to Brindlewood Bay to find the town's best baker, and the Murder Mavens have made it to the final round of the competition. But chaos erupts when the baking show's popular judge, steely-eyed Paul Riviera, turns up dead in his trailer, his face covered with white powder and his hands tied behind his back with perfectly plaited nylon cord.
Oh my gosh. Excellent.
I can't wait to play this. It's gonna be so good.
Oh my gosh. I'm up for that. I'm always up for cracking out the old lady voice.
The Mavens discover that the midwives of the Fragrant Void have a rival cult in Boston, the court of the occluded king, when a young actress is murdered during a performance of a strange play, The King in Shadows. The Murder Mavens. But yeah, it's like Murder, She Wrote and Call of Cthulhu smashed into one. Oh, I'm so excited.
Nice.
Nice. Oh my God, we've been talking for an hour.
We have. Well, I'm going to have to save my second dream for next time.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. It's actually spoopy time coming up soon. We should think about doing I should have saved my creepy little nightmare dream for then. What a fool.
Oh, you should have, yeah. Ugh, you just have to go and have another one.
I'll just go and eat lots of apple.
Apple cheese.
Apple cheese.
Will vegan cheese give you nightmares?
But there's, I don't know. I guess it's more to do with like your tummy processing a lot, isn't it?
True.
Then, speaking of which, oh my gosh, the other day, Alex woke up. No, he didn't. He woke me up.
He didn't wake up.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
He woke me up because he just cried out in the middle of the night, like shouting, and he sounded terrified. He didn't wake up, and he has no recollection of what he was dreaming.
Oh.
But I bloody woke up. Terrified.
Oh
so I guess
God.
that's like revenge for the time I woke him up screaming because I thought Silas was in the room. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Very strange.
Very strange. Well,
I guess, I mean, will it be, is Spoopy Weekend next weekend?
yeah, I suppose it will be. Pretty spooky. I'll try and have some nightmares before then.
Yeah. Well, we get so many people say like, oh, I can't come on the podcast. I only have nightmares.
True.
So,
We could get a guest.
time to get one of them to step up and share their darkest secrets with us. Woo. Nice.
Perfect.
Well, thank you for a lovely chat.
Thank you for a lovely chat.
Thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah. And we will see you next time.
Until next time, bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.